Hello again, everyone. This is Chuck. I wanted to make this video to talk about the fact that all three of the major religions in the Middle East all come from the same source, and that's Kabbalah. All you need to do is read a little bit into all three of these religious texts that these religions come from to see that they come from the same source. And that's what people don't get. You know, I get a lot of Muslims that want to spread my Jesus is Satan videos because it shows the rightness of their religion and oh, how they're right and they're the only one right. And of course Christians want to claim the same thing. But I didn't make my videos to, try and make Islam superior to Christianity, because it's all the same. You're just not getting it. You see, you need to read all of these texts together in conjunction. And one of the websites that I read from is workofthechariot.com. This is a great Kabbalah website that talks all about these three religious texts and how they're all the same. But one of the quotes that really caught my eye when I was reading about the Quran on this Kabbalah website, Work of the Chariot, they themselves say that the Quran is the final revelation of the Lord God as a law, in parentheses, to the children of Abraham. And of course, I espouse that Jesus Christ is Satan, and I'm saying that the Old Testament, that the Trinity of the Old Testament, that God is God, the Lord God is Satan, the Lord of this world, because he's blaspheming by making Adam and Eve on the seventh day, and the Lord is Satan come to earth in physical form. So this is how they all fit together, because they all have this same Trinity: God, the Lord God, and the Lord. The only difference is in the Quran, it's God, Allah, and the Lord, which would make Allah, the Lord God, Satan, the Lord of this world. But it's all Kabbalah. That's what people just don't get. They're all playing you against one another. And you need to realize this before this situation in the Middle East gets out of hand. You can all take part in this if you just realize the source of all three of these books, and that they have you all working towards the same end. And that's the New World Order, or the New Earth in the Bible. And that's all what this is all about. They want you to walk yourselves into the New World Order. The best way to keep you a good slave is to teach you that your slavery is freedom. And that's what they've done in religion. But basically this is all Kabbalah. Quran is the same thing. They're all written by Kabbalists. The Quran is also like the Bible in that it's nonlinear. The surahs are not in order. Surah number 1 is in a different order of revelation. So it's nonlinear, just like the Bible. How I say that the reason the Christian church teaches us to read the Bible backwards is to keep us away from the beginning and to keep us in a nonlinear way of thinking, so we can't put the pieces together. And it's the same way with the Quran. It's nonlinear. Again, the Quran is the final revelation of the Lord God to the children of Abraham. And of course, this is all connected to the Bible. The Quran comes from the Bible. Why do you think it has Miriam and all these other, Jesus and all these other characters, Moses and Abraham, from the Old Testament? It comes from the Old Testament, or the Torah as it's called in the Judaic religion, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament of the Christian religion. But it's not a coincidence that they're all talking about the same stuff. It's not at all. But basically, Satan in all of these religions is almost the same thing. In the Christian religion, Satan is the Lord of this world. In the Judaic religion, he is the Lord of the world. And in the Islamic religion, he is the Lord of the worlds. It's all the same. Lord, Lord, Lord. You got to pay attention to what's being said here. They're saying the same thing. Satan is the Lord of this world. And then they keep putting this Trinity in your face with God, the Lord God, and the Lord. I'm saying the Lord God is Satan, and the Lord is Satan come to earth in physical form to interact with human beings. So you're not paying attention to the verbiage being used in your own religions. They're all saying the same thing. Satan is the Lord of the worlds. This world, it's all the same. Lord, 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 Lord. You get it? It's so simple. You got to put the pieces together. But you're also separated from one another because you think you're the only one right. Christians think that Muslims are Satan worshipers, and Muslims think that Christians are Satan worshipers, and they're both right, but they're both not seeing that they're both worshiping Satan, and they're about ready to kill one another, with this whole situation in the Middle East, and it's ridiculous. You're all It's all the same stuff. You're worshiping the same Lord, and that's the Lord of this world, Satan. But both Christians and Muslims find favor with the children of Israel. And of course, the Quran has more stories about Adam and Eve and Moses, Abraham, Mary, and Jesus than it has about Muhammad. Because like I said, it's all tied to the Old Testament, or the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Because they all come from the same source. Muslims also want Jesus to come back because they think he's good, and that's what this is all about. They want Jesus to come back too. It isn't just Christians. So Christians don't even get that. Muslims want Jesus to come back too. One of my friends is Muslim. He's a very popular lawyer here, or infamous lawyer here in Omaha, who will remain nameless, but he's a good friend of mine. And, you know, I've talked to him about this many times, but it's all the same stuff. And, you know, one of the things I asked him, I was like, well, if it's all about praying to Mecca for Muslims, and you're to the East of Mecca, why wouldn't you pray to the West? And that's because you're not worshiping Mecca, or you're not praying to Mecca. You're worshiping the sun that rises in the East. And that's why all Muslims pray to the East, regardless of where they are, you know, in relation to Mecca. So you just got to think about the stuff in the big picture. You're only getting a little piece of one religion, and you aren't even understanding that. As I've pointed out many times with Christians, you're not even understanding your own religion, and then not understanding that all, you know, that these other religions in the Middle East are all worshiping the same Lord. And they all have us warring with one another because they got to divide us to keep us away from the one truth. But like I said, this is all comes from the same place. And all these texts have the tree of life in them too. Tree of life is in the Old Testament, the New Testament, and it's also the olive tree, the blessed olive tree in the Quran. So the tree of life, the Kabbalah tree of life, is in all these texts. And you're all worshiping the same Lord. That's the most important thing. And you're all being played against one another. You know, you're killing one another when you're worshiping the same God. That's silly. But that's what Christians and Muslims all do, is divide one another from the bigger truth. And that's why you have, you know, even in Ireland, you have the Catholics warring, you know, with the Protestants. You know, they're the same religion and they're still at each other's throats. Because they can't keep you, they can't let you be together. They got to keep you divided to keep you away from the truth that Jesus is Satan. And all these religions want to bring Jesus back because he's Satan. And they will bring him back for the New World Order that will be ruled by the New Jerusalem. So it's all right there. So like I said, all this stuff in the Middle East is complete nonsense. You're all worshiping the same God, the same Lord. And if you read the Torah, the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Quran all together, you would see that. But you aren't. You're broken off and being played off against one another. And it doesn't have to be like this. All you have to do is read all 3 books and understand where they all come from. And they all have a Trinity. Like I said, the God, the Lord God, and the Lord. It's the same Trinity. Torah, Old Testament, Bible, and the Quran. And they all want the Lord to come back. And you really shouldn't want him to come back, because he's the Lord of this world who's going to enslave us all in the New World Order, which will be ruled by the New Jerusalem and the rebellious children of Israel. So like I said, man, all you have to do is quit. That's all you got to do. Realize where this stuff comes from, and just say, all right, enough of this nonsense. Any God in the world that makes you want to kill other people is not a good God. So there you go. It's all Kabbalah. Drop it all and we'll all be all right. If not, we're all going to kill one another for the Lord of this world.